So number one, we'll start the session on time and ensure that it ends on time. By default, all participants will be on mute to avoid the background noise. You can request the trainer to unmute you in case you want to talk to the trainer about your query. You may post your questions on the chat window by choosing the all participants option. We will conduct the polling activity in the middle of the session. Please share your feedback about the pace and delivery of the topics and we will pick it up from there. Post this polling, we will take a 10 minutes break. In the last 15 to 20 minutes, we'll have a Q&A session to answer any generic queries related to the course, content, LMS and exams. We'll also brief you on how to connect using community or help and support for any questions you may have during and post the training. After the end of every session, there will be a session survey where you can rate the session. Please take some time and share your rating based on the session experience. Last but not the least, please do not share any personal or contact details on chat as these sessions are recorded and shared globally. Moving on, let me introduce you to our trainer for the session. So our trainer is Amit Mishra. Hi Amit, welcome to the session. And he has been associated with Simplilearn for a long time and successfully delivered training. So we are delighted to have him in our batch. So for audio confirmation, let me know if you can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, I can hear you. Hopefully all the participants are able to hear me as well.
Yes. We can also hear you clearly. So I have made you the presenter so you can get started with the session. Happy learning, everyone.
Sure, thank you so much. I'll continue from here. Hello, all the participants. This is your trainer speaking. First of all, I'm happy to have all you here on board with us in our journey to move towards our topic of data science with Python topic. Before we proceed ahead, let's do some introduction between me and you and about the Simplilearn. So let's get started with that part first. I'll share the screen now. So just to confirm, hopefully everybody is able to hear me and are able to see the screen. Just please confirm it before we get started. Can I get some confirmations in the chat regarding the same? Sure, thanks for the confirmations. That's great. Let's get started. So, all right, so I'll start the proceedings from my introduction. My name is Amit Mishra and I've been associated with into the training industry from more than 10 years. Along with that, for Simplilearn, I've been associated from quite a while and have been successfully delivering a lot of training programs on multiple topics, which includes our big data, machine learning, data science, deep learning courses majorly. I've been delivering multiple corporate sessions for various participants from beginners to the intermediate level and to the experienced and advanced level of training programs on the mentioned topic. I've been certified on Big Data, Hadoop and Spark Developer, as well as I've been certified for the data science from Hitachi Vantara for certainly one of the pet sessions conducted for the US clients. I've been visiting multiple countries as well and taking part in many classroom programs in case of delivering it, which include some of the prompt companies like Intel and Oracle. And the topic remains same in which you all have enrolled for. I've been also part of the dynamic group of delivering high engagement sessions and majorly focuses on delivering you a crisp training program where you will try to achieve your goals, which is creating a nice balance into a theoretical part aspects of these advanced topics, as well as giving you a good hands-on practice for these data analytics topic, which I have been delivering from past many years. So happy to meet you all. Now let's proceed to our. So let's have a quick review on the journey of the Simply Learn for a few minutes. In this era of digital economy, Simply Learn helps the professionals to acquire your skills that they need to achieve. It has been almost a decade for Simply Learn has been into the digital skill training program delivery, where they have been trained digitally more than 1 million of learners across 150 plus countries by the help of more than 2,000 industry grade trainers. Simply Learn started its journey with the project management blog. Let's see its journey. So it all started in 2009, as you can see in this chart. And the journey is quite smooth as we are still one of the leaders across the globe in delivering live online training session programs. And we are among the world's leading professional training provider with blend of learning approach. When you do the remarkable works, you get accolades as well. The world recognizes you. So now let's see some of the remarkable milestones that we have achieved in this short span time of nearly a decade. We have been into primarily focusing on our learners' experience and the learning outcomes. Participants, just like to confirm, you all are able to see the slides, right? I think only one person might be having certain issue. Maybe you can try to recheck it if you are into the correct. Maybe you are not into the correct page, or it might be your internet issue, which might be leading to a lag between the slides and the session audio. There could be a lag, and this lag could be from your end because of the internet issue. So that you need to take care of. So let's get started. So we were discussing about the awards and accolades that the Simply Learn has won in our last one decade. Let's go to our one of the important sections for the trainees perspective or for the participants perspective. This is where we are having our four major categories that we deliver for the various participants who are enrolling for our various master programs. One of them is in marketing and automation, which includes digital marketing, digital selling, and Salesforce, one of the commonly used cloud environment and the cloud service provider. Next. Next, in this case, we have got the full stack development category, which includes topics like cloud computing, DevOps, cybersecurity, mobile and software development. Starting with the next part, we have got our product and process. That's our another category of our training programs, which includes topic like Agile, Scrum, IT service and agriculture, etc. Let's focus on our category. This is our category here, where you are able to see the categories that includes the topic like artificial intelligence and machine learning. In this, we are having then big data part. After covering up the big data, then we generally go to data science and business intelligence category, which we are just discussing right now. That's third in the list of our master program of data and artificial intelligence. Moving ahead, so hopefully many of you might have already got the idea about the big data. Here we will try to apply data science, and we will learn about the key aspects of the data science and how to implement it onto our various data sets. That's what we will be learning in our course by various mediums. Let me give you, there might be there might be users who might have joined our session for the first time, might be have enrolled for only data science courses as well. So let me give you a quick overview of your journey. So you have been enrolled for the course, and the course name says your data science and business intelligence. The advantage of associating with us is that you can attend the live sessions or live class, and you can understand the concepts of me while applying all these implementation of these concepts, discussion of the concepts, discussion of all the softwares and the implementation of them. Whatever I will be guiding them, you can learn it from any platform. So you can join it. If you are having time, I will really suggest you to all please go through, please connect it through your laptops. Still you are having issues joining through the mobile, you can join it through the mobile if you have no access to the laptop, if you are on some business trips or if you can't attend it from your workstations. Training can be attended from anytime, anywhere, and you can have the accessibility of these classes. We have been giving you the access to the LMS. Hopefully you all have been access to the LMS part, which will be providing you one important thing of online self-guided learning materials. These are video lectures, and plus here only you will see all the PPTs that I'll be using in the class. The PPTs will be not shared to the participants. You will be only having the access to the online self-guided learning, which is in the terms of videos and audio form. So you can go through the slides using your LMS under the online self-guided learning materials are provided there. Whatever is going on right now is considered as your live virtual classroom, and their attendance is important. To unlock the certification, you have to be live in the session for at least 80% of your total number of duration should be, you should be there attending total number of days. Out of that 80% number of days, you should be attending the class to unlock your certification. The attendance will be marked automatically when you spend more than 60% of the time in the class, in the live session. There are global teaching assistants which will be provided to you to tackle your questions and queries. Every sessions will be having an hands-on lab sessions. At least for data science, there will be a lot of lab sessions So yes, it is applicable. Initially, there will be a lot of stats which will be discussed, and when it comes to statistical part, there will be a lot of maths behind it. So you should be ready about that. There will be a lot of maths and a lot of statistical analysis which will be discussed in the class. So assignments, there are some non-gradable assignments will be there. Non-gradable means it will be not compulsory. So if you wish, you can practice them. Similarly, there will be quizzes in the end of every day's lecture. If it is applicable, so quizzes and practice tests will be there. You will be given the lab access if it is if it is applicable. So you will be getting the lab access under the membership. So there will be a tenure, there will be number of hours which will be given to you, which will be fixed. And for that many number of duration, you can have the accessibility to your labs and you can work on it. Project work, if it is applicable, you have to complete the project and you need to submit it. Completion criteria to unlock your certification is that you should be attending at least 80% of our total number of class sessions, which is highly recommended, as you can you can put your queries and questions here and you can get the answers from me. There will be one test that you have to take, which will be quite an easy. You will get 3 attempts for it, and you should at least get 60% of the score. Project submission and evaluation. As I said, if the projects are there associated with it, you need to submit the project which will be helping you to unlock the certification. So these are the completion criteria that we have in your journey. Now I like to know few things about our trainers. So what you can do is you can introduce yourself by providing your name, comma, your total number of years of experience in the IT sector or in whatever the sector you are working. You can post it about it. If you have already attended our data science or related topic like machine learning or anything, then you definitely add that into your introduction part. No need to provide them one by one. Just write in one line separated by comma, like I'll show you, so that I know my crowd. So my name is Amit. I'll write Amit, comma, total years of experience in and years of my past experiences. Like this. I'm only interested in knowing your experiences of what you have learned earlier, or if you have got any experiences in data science field, then definitely also provide that. So just start feeding it and let me see. All right, happy to meet you all. I think the batch is having a nice balance between experienced and freshers. So thank you so much. Nice to meet you all. And hopefully we will be able to achieve our goals together. And let's get started with our data science. Topic number one, lesson number one. Let me guide you through your LMS part once. There might be, as I can see, there are a lot of freshers as well. So let me help you out to go through the LMS part, which is an important section. So you can also open your LMS at the same time so that you can see all the details. So that's the course of data science in Python. As the name is data science with Python, so you can, if you have past experience with Python programming, that will be an add-on, but you don't have to worry about. Python will be taken as one of the, one of your topics. So it will be discussed during the session. This is what I was talking about. The LMS starts with your self-learning. So these are your all the PPTs. So total 12 lessons are there, and 13 lesson will be your practice project. In this case, in the LMS self-learning, you will find your data files, which will be related to all the materials, maybe related to your data sets, which we'll be using in our session, and a supported Python ebook, which I suggest you because I think the Python begins from our chapter number 4. As you can see, till then I will be discussing about some of the important insights about the data science, and there will be an overview of these for this week. So maybe for the time being, you can carry on by learning, or maybe you can start your learning about this Python programming through this ebook provided. Live classes has two things. One, this will be helping you out to join the session, and second thing is that once right now you can see it is showing live, right? So as your classes will get over, it takes 24 to 48 hours, and then this will become into a download option, and there you can click on that download button to download today's session recordings, just to go through the topics that we have covered. If you wanted to brush up, you can go through this live sessions part. So this will be showing you your attendance as well. So all these will be find your attendance, your previous day's recording, your lectures recording, you can find under the live session part. Total 11 sessions are there. Let's go to the practice lab. Here, if lab requirement will be there, then only you are allowed to launch this lab. You will be basically getting access to Jupyter Notebook. If you have already worked on Python earlier, you might be aware about the Jupyter Notebook, Jupyter IDE, which is one of our important IDE for our lecture sessions. Under the assessment, I think we can stop here. This is just related to your 3 projects out of, 4 projects are there. Out of that, I think here these are your gradable projects which you need to submit. Anyone will do your work. Only one project will be enough to unlock your certification. And out of these 3 tests, you have to conduct, you have to take only one test. All right, let's get started with our, now having giving you the description of all these things. So all your materials will be available on your in your LMS only. So you don't have to look here and there. Your recordings, your PPTs, everything is available in your LMS. Data sets will be also available in your LMS only. If in case I'll use a data set which is not accessible to you, then that is a different thing. That for that I will be providing you the materials. Let's get started with our lecture with my lesson number 1. So here is our first slide. Let's get started with our introduction to data science, and let's have a data science overview first. Let's begin our proceedings. So in this, you will learn about the definition of data science. We will discuss the roles and responsibility of a data scientist. So whoever plays an important role here. So what are the topics that you have to learn to become a data scientist? One of the prompt job profile. List of various applications which is associated with the topic of data science. Then the importance of data science in our day-to-day life and in the industries. And then we'll be describing you that how Python plays an important role in finding the solutions for the problem statements associated with our data science. Let's get started with the definition of data science. So let's start with some of the common definitions by doing the rounds. So few of the people, they define data science as a new powerful approach to make discoveries from the data. You can call it as that this is a method of making discoveries or finding the insights from the historical data. Why I said the historical data? Because whatever we will try to analyze, this has been already occurred. This data is already available, it has happened in the past, and on the basis of that, we are trying to make some discoveries from the data. So the hidden patterns, the hidden associations, the clusters, we can find from this data, and we can try to analyze it in a way that it should add some value. It should add some value. Okay, so these discoveries should not go in a van. This should add certain value. The other defines the data science as an automated way to analyze the enormous amount of data and extract the information. Another definition or the way you can define a data science is a new discipline that combines the aspects of the statistics. A very important role is played by the statistics, the hypothesis, the statistics method, namely you can take some of the commonly used methods like your central tendencies. Central tendencies includes mean, median, mode of data. You can also do a lot of good insights by combining the mathematics here with the programming part, with the visualization, adding visualization to your which will be providing us a lot more information about the data. So you can summarize by through this that we apply some of our important statistical methods, hypothesis testing we perform on the data, we apply some mathematics, programming, and in the end we do the visualization, which will provide us a good insight about the data. And through that, we will try to add value to the solutions that we are looking for. All right. So that's what the data science is. Let's move ahead here as in what are the different components of the data science. So when your domain expertise and scientific methods are combined with the technology, we get data science, which enables one to find the solution for the existing problem. So here, as the name says, that the first important thing to become a data scientist is that you should have a good domain expertise. Data science can be used for solving many problems associated with many many domains. It could be related to your medical field. It could be related to agriculture. It could be related to finance, the banking sector, etc. So domain knowledge is must. If you have a good knowledge, then only you can understand the data better. Otherwise, you can implement the tools and the methods that we'll be discussing in the class, but you will not implement it in a better way. The domain expertise and the scientific methods combines together to create a data scientist profile. The important thing here is your various type of analysis that you perform for in the data set. So this analysis includes your descriptive analysis, predictive analytics, and your prescriptive analysis. So we'll do that, we'll see one by one how they are different from each other. For the time being, let's see the other things that one has to know, which includes your various scientific tools and methods, and a good knowledge of mathematical and statistical model. Now, if you might be wondering like what type of level you should be knowing, so the topics that you should be aware about is 0, as the session will be covering up all the required statistical models. So I will be taking up from the scratch, starting with our what exactly is the definition of data, what are the types of data, and then from here we will go to central tendencies, which will include your mean, median, mode. Then we will go to our the various patterns of the data, like what is normal distributions, what is skewness, kurtosis. Then we will be moving towards the hypothesis testing and the different type of hypothesis testing. So whatever the required statistical part is there, which it is part of your session, it is part of your learning session, so that will be discussed. So you don't have to worry about if you don't know any maths earlier. But yes, you should understand, you should have that understanding of understanding the math, correct? But I have named the topic. If you wish, you can do it in your spare time. That is going to be only adding up the value to your knowledge, and when I'll be taking up in our lecture, that will help you to brush up your concepts more better. So these are the things which will be coming up, and obviously you have the audio recordings, so you can also go through it and you can see that what level of stats is required to go through the topics of data science. Okay, I'm talking about the video lectures which is available in your LMS. I'm just discussing about the analysis part. So how does we define the analysis? So typically, if you will see the analysis section, so let us look have a deep look into each components that the data science provide. A data scientist starts by, there is an important role of a data scientist. You should know about how to collect the data, how to ingest the data. This ingestion of the data is important here. And when we talk about the ingestion of the data, we basically collect the data from various domains from various locations. So it could be like the data might be available in your databases. So maybe we can take an example of MySQL DB, or the data is available in no structured databases, or maybe it is available in your various forms will be there. So one should know how to ingest this data from the source. So here I gave you some of the commonly known sources. Could be many, could be a URL, could be a website. That depends upon from where you are collecting the data. So you will collect the data and you will ingest it into your environment. So it will be migrating all the data, it will be collecting the data from the source, and it will be ingesting into your environment where you can explore the data further. You can perform the analysis on it later, and then you can present the data by the help of visualization. The role of visualization is in presentation. Okay. So a data scientist should be a domain expert, as they need to to have a good knowledge of the data is important, and they can discover the right pattern in them. Traditionally, the domain experts like scientists and statisticians collected and analyzed the data in laboratory setup and or in a controlled environment. They used to do it like this. The data was then subjected to relevant laws or mathematical and statistical models to analyze the data set and derive relevant information from it. For instance, they used the models to calculate the mean, median, mode, standard deviations, hypothesis testing, and so on the data set to explore the insight from the data. These are some of the important stats that the scientists or the statisticians used to apply in a control environment. It used to help them to test their hypothesis or create a new one. Let's try to understand here that what are the different type of data analysis a data scientist can do by applying the mathematical and the statistical models which are available to us as to find the solution from the data. It could be descriptive analysis, which will be a study of data set to decipher the details. So this is basically related to you have a data set and you apply stats to it, only statistics or your mathematics, and this is going to be giving you a good insight about the data. That's what the descriptive analysis means. Next is your predictive analytics, which is going to be choosing the model on the existing information and predict the outcome and the behavior from it. So this is related to making predictions. When it comes to making predictions, straight away the thing should strike in your mind is the use case of machine learning algorithms or associated algorithms like use case of artificial intelligence to your data, or adding or using deep learning with the data, which is obviously applied on a at the higher level. At the basic level, we should know about data science. Machine learning will be more than enough. Basic level means I'm talking about the beginners level, as you all most of you are beginners, so I'm talking about that. There are very rare business solutions that we get it with the help of deep learning. Okay, so most of your business solutions are dependent on your use case of applying a good stats, mathematics, and applying machine learning algorithm if you need to predict something for future. Okay, for instance, predictions means what? What is the meaning of prediction? Predictions means you collected a lot of information regarding the data set. Let's say we have got the information regarding the house sales. Now this house sales we have got, and we have got the house sales details. Okay, now this will be having a lot of information related to it, like the features associated with features affecting the house sales. Now, depending upon that, if you try to predict, depending upon, so you have the data information available from 1990 to 2021. This is the data you are having available. Now, depending upon the data from 1990 to 2021, you are trying to predict what will be the sales in predicting sales in year 2023. What is this? This is where you will be requiring, this is called as prediction. That's one example. Similarly, you have, let's say you have come up with a drug. Okay, let's say this is a cancer drug you have. This is related to the medical field. This cancer data you have tried on multiple persons. In few person, you have the drug is working fine, whereas for the others, it's not adding any value to it. It's not working at all. So what you can do is you can just study their genes. So these are your genes. So what are there here? We are particularly classifying it. So this cancer drug is working for a group of people. So it is working for a group of patients. So one group is where it is working. Whereas for the others, it is not adding as any cure to patients. So what you can do is you can study their genome, their genes, and you can classify them. So with the help of this, what you can predict, that you will take a new patient entry from old study, you will take the new patient gene and you will feed them into this algorithm, and the algorithm will give you a result that whether this patient will be, particularly if this drug will be given to the particular XYZ, if this new patient here I will be this person I will be providing this cancer drug, whether they will whether it will be working good or it will not add any value to it, fine, or it will be non-functional for this particular patient. So with this you can classify itself at the beginning. This is again called as your predictive analytics, because you have already predicted whether this new patient should be given the drug without actually giving the drug. That's called as prediction. So on the basis of past data, we predict or we classify. Now in this, you can also add some of the details like forecasting the price of the house, for predicting the house price on the basis of the description provided, like how many number of, what is the carpet area, the details about how many number of rooms are there, how many number of washrooms are there, where is the exact location, the latitude and the longitude. So many factors will be there on the basis of that you can predict what should be the price of the house. So these are the details. If you wanted to take the screenshots of these notes, so obviously you need to either write somewhere or you need to take the screenshot, because as soon as I'll delete it, it will be only part of the recordings. So I'm just removing it now. This is just a general thing. If you want to write somewhere, you have to write it just like any other general trainings. Next and the last part is the prospective analytics. In the prospective analytics, one will try to give or suggest some actions for the given situation. This is related to providing solutions or suggesting some solutions, that okay, for the given problem statement, these could be the solutions which you can try. Going back to our previous slide. So when you combine, we have just understood what are the different type of analysis one can provide, one can learn here by adding, and these analysis you can do it by the help of these two. More than that, you have to take the help of the technology here. The technology includes various operating systems, application design, Python language, which is our open source programming language. Remember that the Python language, because of this, it provides a lot of data pre-processing tools, including Pandas. And why is it so? Because it is an open source and it has got a huge help from the community. There's a huge and big community of Python libraries are there. Python programming languages there, which can provide them a lot of libraries, a lot of packages, which includes libraries like NumPy, numerical Python. It includes library like Pandas library. It also includes your library like visualization library like matplotlib. SciPy and scikit-learn, etc. There are many libraries which are there associated with the Python, and that's the reason Python is one of the most popular language when it comes to working in data science. Along with this, the other programming language which adds value is R programming. But if you will compare, the industry either works on Python or it works in R. So both will be not used in any organization. Either they will prefer Python or they will prefer R. Okay, so Python adds a lot of value. If you know Python programming, that will help you in learning the data science better. So that's a must. Let's moving ahead here to our data processing and analytics part. So now we have an access of a lot of tools in technology in this modern age that help us in processing the data and extract the information that we need. For instance, there are data processing tools for data wrangling. We have a new and flexible programming languages that are more efficient and easier to use. With the creation of operating systems that support multiple OS platforms, it is now easier to integrate systems and process big data, which is coming up from the various sources. And with that, we can particularly try to find out the solutions for the various data that is available to us from the various big data sources which are there. So being nowadays, if you will compare, we are having a lot of packages available, and the main reason behind that is that all those this Python programming language, for instance, if I'll take, this is an open source. Open source means that this programming language is providing you not only just free access, but it also provides its core part where the software details are available, and on top of that, the other developers, the community of Python language, what they can do is they can contribute, they can create a new libraries, and they can contribute to Python. So you can see and you will find very frequent updates in Python programming languages. That is also one of the major reasons why we are having so many libraries, which makes our work easier. One of the important work that you do before applying the data scientist methods, which include building and training machine learning models for creating a predictive analysis, manipulate the data with the technology, build the data tools, applications, and their services, and extracting the information from the data. But before all this, what you do is you perform a data preparation. And what happens in this preparation part is the major step is done by your data wrangling, where you clean the data. Here we clean the data set. When we say clean the data, so I'll just show you the real data. Maybe I'll just show it through the Excel sheet. If you have ever worked in the data set, then you might be aware about that your raw data is not a clean data set. Your raw data will be full of problems, full of issues. They will have some unwanted elements in that. Like, for example, maybe I can just take the help of my existing data set. Just give me a minute. Let me open it. Let me show you how does it looks like. So for instance, there is an example of a data set here. What you can see is this is an automobile data. In this, you can see that your price of the various automobiles are there, which is dependent upon various factors. Sampling, normalized losses, who is a maker, like you can see the various company names here, Audi, Chevrolet, Dodge, Honda, etc. So these are the makers, the different fuel types, which includes gas or diesel, aspiration, standard or turbo. These are related to the domain of mechanical, right? We are having the availability of number of doors, body style, drive wheels, engine locations, wheelbase, etc. Depending upon these, there will be one thing where I like to draw your attention is towards this side. So I was saying that whenever you start any analysis, suppose my goal is to particularly predict the price of the vehicles. If that is my goal, I should be working on a cleaner data set. I should not be having the data set with full of question marks, missing values, like you can see the blank entries like this. If I'll just miss out here few entries here, in this case, these will be considered as NA. These will be read as NA when you will read the data, or it will be read as NAN. Not a value, not a number, like that. So missing values, question marks, these are the common entities which you will find in a raw data set. And these are the points which you have to, as a data scientist, you have to tackle first. It has been commonly said that out of the total time you spend on any project, more than 70% to 80% of the time you spend on data preparation. That's where the majority of the time goes. You don't spend much on applying your modeling part, that is predictive analytics or machine learning algorithms. Because when you reach till the machine learning algorithms, you have to deal with a lot of steps, and that's where the data scientist should be expertising. You should be expertise on cleaning the data sets. You should be expertise in working on various types of data, various forms of the data, which includes not just CSV files, but various other files format, which I will be discussing in a few minutes today. So just wanted to show you that what is the meaning of data wrangling. Data wrangling is including all the process of preparation of data from the raw sample to a cleaner sample, to a cleaner data set. So as we'll proceed ahead, we will discuss about it, especially in topics of pandas. There we will discuss how to clean the data set. Nowadays, our things are pretty easier as we are having availability of lot of libraries, as I said. So you don't have to worry about and you don't have to write any customized functions to deal with these type of issues. You can easily prepare it by the help of the libraries which are helping us, and that's where the technology is helping the data scientist. So hopefully you have understood the roles and responsibilities of a data scientist. As we will proceed ahead, you will also know them practically. Roles and responsibilities of data scientist, just a new one. We already had now a few ideas, but still let's have a quick flow about it, that what a data scientist actually do in real world. So now that we have learned about what is data science, it will be easier to us to understand what exactly a data scientist does as a profile. So data scientist starts from questions or a business problem. So you'll have a problem statement mentioned, and you have to somehow collect the data as well. At certain point, you will not have the data set also, but you will be having the sources, and from there you have to actually get your data. So you need to perform your data acquisition, you need to perform here your data ingestion or data acquisition. So once your data has been collected from the real world, you will process, and this process of preparation of the data, the process of data wrangling is implemented with data tools and modern technologies that include data cleansing, data manipulation, data discovery, and data pattern identification. So at this stage, this is an important stage here where you actually convert your raw data that you have collected to a lot cleaner data. And it goes through the process of data wrangling, manipulation, cleansing, data discovery, pattern identification, etc. After you have converted your data into a cleaner form, you will apply your mathematical and statistical models to it, depending upon if your problem statement requires predictive analytics or it is just a descriptive analytics. If it is descriptive analytics, then you will simply apply the statistical and mathematical part. If it is include your predictive analytics, then only you will apply your modeling section, machine learning algorithms. Then you particularly prepare your model. Once your model is done, you design. After designing, you need to represent it by using various visualization techniques so that this will be helping you in creating the data reports. Data reports are generally done on Power BI. These are tool names: Power BI, Tableau. These are the tools which are used in the industries. Okay, they are the nice way of preparing your data reports. And then once everything works fine, the next step will be to prepare a data report. And after the report prepared, you can finally convert into a product or into a service. So that's the role and responsibility, and this is the flow part. Here, there are two ways. In your statistical model, you will do these parts. In the machine learning, you will particularly split the data into train and test. Split the data into train and test. After you have splitted the data into train and test, you will apply machine learning algorithms to training set, and then you will evaluate the ML algorithm or ML model by test set. This will be majorly 70 to 80% of your overall sample, and the test set will be your 20 to 30%. Somebody is asking about the differences between how mathematical and statistical model is different from your machine learning algorithm. So let me explain you that. When I say statistical model, I generally don't expect our model to predict something. When I say when I say I will be applying machine learning, that means I wanted to perform predictive analytics. So you will make predictions with this. Either it will be classifying your data into two or three or multiple classes, or you will predict the values like sales value or Sensex, share price value or price of a house, what will be the sales pattern. So these type of things when you wanted to do, you are basically trying to predict for future. Correct? So that is where the machine learning will play an important role. Whereas if you just wanted to perform the descriptive analytics on the provided data, like you wanted to find out what is the variance in the data set, what is the variance in, okay, I'll take that example of car price. So if I wanted to know the standard deviation or variance, I wanted to check if price, if vehicle price shows any anomaly, sorry, shows any outliers. So if any outliers are there, I wanted to find out that there will be some set of group of vehicles will be there which will have a very high price, and that will be exactly on the right hand side, it will be away from the economic class of vehicles. So how does we will able to know which all those manufacturers are there? I wanted to know. So you can do it with the help of outliers. So these hidden patterns, when you analyze, you will be applying a mathematical or statistical approach. Here we are not emphasizing on making prediction. In the same problem statement, if I'll add predicting the vehicle price on basis of their characteristic, then what I need to apply in this case? I need to apply machine learning algorithms. So that's how you can differentiate. It's all about the question that you are trying to answer. Understood? The difference between both? Somehow I got muted, I guess. I'll repeat again. A data scientist have the ability, so these are the key skills that a data scientist should have. It's not only about the knowledge of the topics that we'll be covering up, but it's all about the right questions. So a data scientist should have the ability to ask the right questions, right set of questions. For this, it is important to have domain expertise, the curiosity to learn and create concepts, and the ability to communicate questions effectively to domain experts. A data scientist should have an analytical mind to understand hidden patterns in a data structure. They should also have the understanding to wrangle data by removing redundant and irrelevant information and create a cleaner data set from the data which has been collected from the various sources. So the wrangling and the manipulation steps, cleansing steps will come here at the step number 3. Statistical thinking and ability to apply mathematical methods, which could include your understanding of probabilistic approach, your data distribution, all right, likelihood of anything, right, likelihood of category, right, that what is the likelihood that a certain drug which has come into the market is gonna affect you in the right way or will have a adverse effect on your health. It could be both the ways that we do it with the help of testing, right? So a drug could have 2 categories. So what will be the likelihood that if the drug on your body is going to be adding a good effect or will have an adverse effect? So 2 classes are there. Next, visualizing the data and communicate with the stakeholders. So after you know how to how to apply these statistical methods by using linear algebras, probabilistic distributions, probability, likelihood, or your central tendencies that we have discussed, standard deviations. Data should be visualized with graphics, with a proper uses of storytelling, so you can build a story around the visualization. This helps the audience or the stakeholders, which will be not a very good, will be not good in understanding your codes and etc. But they will be able to understand that what you're trying to present through the visualization, through the presentations. So they should be able to design powerful presentations to summarize and communicate any analytical result to the audience. So these are your important skill sets. Let's move ahead to an important topic of big data. Sources of the big data here. Right now, I don't think so. It is a good time to discuss the different machine learning algorithms. As when will be the discussion over the ML, then it will be a good idea to discuss about it. Right now, there is no point of discussion over those. Let's start our discussion over the various sources of the big data and what is the big data and what are the different applications and how the big data is associated with all these various applications parts. So let's get started. As I said earlier, a data scientist should be working with different type of data sets for various purposes. Now that big data is generated every second through the different medias, the role of data scientist has become more important. Remember, big data is nothing but it is your exponential increase. It is a humongous amount of data which has been generated generating the data from your various sensors, from your various sources, and it is adding up to your digital universe. Digital universe is your exponential increase in the data which we have seen, and this collects the data from various sources, and they generate a humongous amount of data here. I mean, this will be huge. We are talking about exabytes of data. In 1 exabyte, there will be billion of gigabytes. So you can think of that how huge the big data is. So when we talk about the big data, we talk about the humongous amount of data which will get generated. Okay, so it's huge. There is a proper definition, I'll come back to that. But for the time being, just understand the big data terminology is coined from the huge size of the data. In early days, your big data, when the big data was not there, you know that a traditional approach was there. Let's talk about the traditional approach. In traditional approach, the data used to reside mostly in your databases. When we talk about when the data is available in the databases, that means your data will be mostly structured. What is a structured database? A structured data set? Anybody? What is a structured data? I've stopped sharing the screen. You can provide an answer to define what is a structured data. You all can send your chat window from panelist to all participants, and it will be better if you can send the message. I'm asking here one question, so you can answer it by changing your send to option to all participants. When we say the data is structured, what is the meaning of structured data? So structured data means that your data will be represented in terms of rows and columns. I think we have got the answer. Mostly structured. What is the meaning of a structured here? That will have data will be represented in rows and columns. You can also take an example of data from the RDBMS. Or Excel sheet, spreadsheet. In all these, the data will be organized in a proper rows and columns. This was your earlier trend when there were no big data term. Big data term started coming up. Okay, started coming up when we have started increasing the internet uses for various facilities, like the inclusion of social media. Social media data includes images, comments, which is a textual data, likes, videos, images, then captions. All these are textual data form, right? So audio and video form of the data is there in this. So in this case, you can see that the data from the structured form has actually changed to your unstructured format. Audio and video is unstructured format. Unstructured. The examples are audio, video. Okay, more examples of unstructured text, flat files, notepad. When I say flat file means I am talking about .txt format files, document files, PDFs. So these are obviously part of your textual data, signals. When your data is represented in terms of signals, these are all part of your unstructured data. So you can see that these are your different various sources of the data, and big data includes your three major category of the data. Two of them we have already discussed. Databases, which were the earlier digital universe data set. They were all available in terms of databases only. But as the use cases have started increasing, like uh, a user can send their feeds from the sensors associated with their body. I mean, you can take an example of, let's take here maybe the smartwatches. Smartwatches monitors your sleep pattern, uh, how much time you spend on exercising, yes, every day. So walk, it counts your walks, it counts your running, counts your calorie intake, it counts your calorie burn, it counts your heartbeat, it counts your sleeping hours, sleeping patterns, and these are all getting generated in terms of an UI, which you see or monitor on your smartphones. So how this is working from smart watches to your mobile application. Again, the role of data scientists are there here. You are doing what you are monitoring here is nothing but it is an example of data science. Okay, social media platforms where you post a lot of things which include text, audio, video data. Then lot of ebooks are available. So what are these ebooks are contributing? These ebooks are contributing in terms of text. You write blogs. Blogs are all textual format. Then locations are shared. Server and network logs are there, which helps us in analyzing websites popularity. Right? How many traffic is coming up on a particular network, that we can monitor through the help of big data. So they are all contributing, and this is called as your digital universe. In this digital universe, obviously the most of the data will be contributed in which form? Unstructured form or semi-structured form, or your structured format. Which format will be there? What do you think? Three formats we have talked about: structured, unstructured, semi-structured is also there, which will be kind of JSON files or XML files. These are the file format which is there in semi-structured. So in the digital universe, the major contributor is from which part? It is coming up from unstructured. I mean, you can see in around you, right? Most of them are unstructured. YouTube videos, millions and millions of views are there on those videos. So what is that? That is your unstructured data. Then second is your semi-structured, and the least is from the structured. This is from the structured. So that's how the digital universe total occupancy is there. And remember, it is almost got double in from year 2007 to 2020. It is almost double itself. All right, and in next 20 years, it will again double itself. Right now, it is staying at 40 exabytes, and by 2040, it will be 160. In fact, it will be 160 exabytes. So that's increasing. So until and unless this digital universe data is increasing, data scientists will always be there. Big data analysts will be always there, playing an important role in the industry. Let's go ahead. How does we define the big data? We define it by the help of 4 V's, not 3 V's, but 4 V. The fourth one I will discuss. First one is volume. Enormous amount of data which is getting generated from the various sources. The data could be generated from all these various sources which we have discussed. Data is getting generated from the sensors, social media platforms, textual data, the geolocations data which is coming up from the GPS, or so data from the GPS, data is also getting generated from your satellites, GPS, satellites, then e-commerce, bank, etc. I think you have not understood here when I was saying that the total space of the digital universe. So the answer is not industry dependent. The answer is dependent on the overall presence of the data in across the globe. So you missed out this part, digital universe part. Four V's of the big data. Out of that, volume. Volume is the size of the data. We are talking about the size of the data, which is huge, which is enormous, and the size here, let's say for instance, how does you will define the volume? So example, with you can take an example of Facebook. It has been said, I think the last data was generated in around 2016 or 15. They said that they generate near about 600 terabyte of the data every day. This is called as volume. Second is velocity. Large amount of data is streaming at a great speed, which requires quick data processing, real-time processing. In this case, we are talking about the data is in the streaming format. That means we are looking for an interval of, let's say, 1 minute. In this 1 minute, this is subjective. I'm taking an example of 1 minute. It could be 30 seconds of interval. It could be 5 seconds of interval. So during this interval, whatever the transaction has taken place, we can take an example from the industry grade. Let's say Amazon is there. Now Amazon India is interested in analyzing the sales pattern. They wanted to analyze that which particular product is our hot sale products in past, let's say 10 minutes. So this interval could be anyone. So what you do in this case is you collect the data which is getting generated for a regular interval. You stream that and you perform a real-time processing here, and you generate your result. In this case, your results will vary from every time interval. Let's say I wanted to know the questions, like in this case with the help of velocity you can get the answers of trending product, trending brands. These type of answers the Amazon can find out only with the help of velocity by taking a regular interval. Let's say in 1 minute, what is the how many number of transactions has been taken place for each product, and depending upon that we can sort them in a descending order and then we can present it. This could be integrated. This thing could be integrated on the home page. This can help more and more users to attract toward these leading products, to these trending products of the day. All right, so they basically place it in their home pages so that they can attract more and more users onto these products, onto these brands. Variety. There are three major categories of the data. Structured. Structured data is basically your data which is presented in terms of rows and columns. Data is formatted. This is a formatted data presented in form of rows and columns. So when your data is proper formatted, it is called as a structured format. Next is semi-structured. Semi-structured format will be JSON. Semi-structured format will be XML format. Semi-structured format will be your let's take a definition first. There is a structure of data, but the structure is not fixed. When you will not have a common structure, you will not find a common structure under your semi-structured part. Are you able to see the whiteboard? Let us take an example of semi-structured format. Example, JSON. What is a JSON file format? JSON file format is data presented in keys and values. Data presented in keys and values. For example, ID. This is, let's say, an employee ID. Similarly, we can write here key name, another key. Let's say the name of the employee is PQR. So key colon value, that's the pattern. Key colon value. Similarly, there will be other keys like salary. Let's say salary is something like this. Maybe age. Age will be, let's say, 29. So this is how the pattern is. This is so hopefully I have understood what is a JSON format. It will be a combination of keys and values. Keys will be your, most importantly, they will be representing your column. Name and value will be your value. So for every row, the data will be presented in this way only, under the curly brackets like this. Key value, key value, key value, like that. So this is your JSON format. Format will be .json file. Next, semi-structured is XML. You can see that in this multiple file formats are there and every format is different from each other. XML. If you have worked in extended markup language, I am talking about that only. This will be, data will be presented under data will be presented as tags. Okay, let us start with ID. Sorry. Let's say this is your first is row ID is there. Then you start with your ID here and we will write the value. So this time your value will be presented in this way. Tags. Same values are there, but representation is different. Okay, so for every row ID, there will be a new tags will be there, and the data will be presented in this way. This is your extended markup language. This is also part of your semi-structured data. Okay, all right. So if you wanted to know the JSON file source, so basically the JSON file source is Twitter. Twitter data is represented in JSON format. This could be like, suppose, could be an example of eBay transactions on eBay. That could be your available in this XML format, .xml files. So hopefully you have understood what is variety. Fourth one is veracity. Fourth part is veracity. Fourth part is veracity. Veracity means that your data will be truthfulness of your data. Whatever the data we are using and we are implementing, it should be representing our true results, and on the true data when you will implement, that's where the veracity, this is called as your veracity. Okay, so quality of the data should be correct, quality of the data should be true. That's what called as veracity, truthfulness of the data. So this is related to, this right here, related to consistency, accuracy, quality, and trustworthiness of data that is presented in terms of veracity. That is the fourth V. So hopefully I have understood what is exactly the big data is. All right. So any questions on the big data part or any of these points you can ask. Hopefully you have understood many of these points. If you have got any questions, please post in the chat window. The Q&A tabs are is not open right now. I'll suggest everybody to use the chat window to post your questions instead of posting in the Q&A section. Unless it is some sort of a question related to, some non-technical questions if you wanted to ask. That is, Q&A is fine for that. But if you have got any technical questions, any terms which is not clear, you can post directly in the chat window so that all the participants can see. If it is clear till here, you can just post clear in the chat. Right, so I can see that most of you are saying clear. That means no questions are there, so we can just straight away move ahead in our slides. Applications. So there are various applications of the data science, as you have seen, that this could be applied in various sectors. So the skills of anywhere the data set which is getting generated, it should be a real data. That's what the real-time example will be there. Your data, what is the veracity? Every data which is getting generated, it should be a trustworthiness. There is no as such a specific examples for this. Velocity had the example, so I gave it. Veracity was having some examples which needed to be discussed, so I gave it. Veracity is our expectation from the data. So any data which is coming up to us, that should be a trustworthy data. It should not have any biasness. It should not have any noise. There must be no abnormality in the data. There must be no errors in the data. There must be not a lot of missing values should not be there in your data. So these type of things you can consider under the veracity. That our expectation is that data should be having less presence of errors, and the data should be clean, and it should add some value. So these are the points that we have. Let's talk about the very different sectors using your data science. Various sectors that use data science to extract the information, they need to create different services and products. Let's talk about that. So we know the skills of data scientists should have to let go on to see the applications of the data science in different sectors, which include social network platforms such as Google, Yahoo, Facebook, and so on, to collect a lot of, which basically has, I mean, if you will talk about Google, Google has one of the biggest big data cluster where their varieties of the data is stored. They are getting generated from the various platforms, and it stores, it has got the biggest cluster here. Facebook is also not behind. Facebook and Google will be having the biggest clusters. So social network platforms such as Google, Yahoo, Facebook, and so on collect a lot of data every day, which is why they have some of the most advanced data centers which are spread across the world. Now, I was talking about the data centers. These are nothing but these are called as your collections of the clusters. All right, clusters will be basically the space where all these data are getting stored and these are getting processed as well. Let's talk about search engines. So when we talk about the search engines, we talk about Google, which is one of the important search engines and one of the most popular search engines in giving you the faster results and accurate results. I will take an example of the social use cases of this data science. Social network platforms are there. So let's take an example of LinkedIn. LinkedIn uses data points from its user to provide them the relevant digital services and data products. So now let's see how these products and services, you can start and have a look on the social network platforms. I'll take that example first. And the first example here is, let's have a look at the LinkedIn. Let's suppose that you are a data scientist based in New York City. So it's quite likely that you would want to join a group or build connection with the people related to data scientists, right? Inside the New York City. Now, what LinkedIn does with the help of data scientists, that it looks at your profile, your posts, and the kind of things you are you like the post, the type of post you like, the post in which you are commenting, and so it looks around your activity, okay, and it also looks your city, it also looks your country, the people you are connected to, and the group you belong to. Then it matches all that information with its own database to provide you with information that is most relevant to you. So the post that you watch, okay, the information that you see on your home page, this is coming up from their databases by matching your profile, location, city, in which groups you have been already joined, the connections, the type of connections that you have, and the kind of post that you like, the kind of post on which you made a comment. So depending upon that, the LinkedIn provide you the information, the relevant information. The information could be in the form of news, updates, jobs. They might be interested in. You might be interested to see. It also suggests you in industry connections or professional groups that you might want to get in touch with, or even job postings which are related to your field, the field that you have added in your profile, and the designations that you have also added. So these are your examples of your data services which LinkedIn provides. So these are your digital services, data products, which basically your LinkedIn provides on the basis of the activity that you perform. Also, if it also generates your post activity, which include how many people have watched it, what is the reach of your post. Okay, also it generates the weekly report, that how the view on your post, sorry, the view on your profile, how many people have been visiting your profile. So based on what LinkedIn is learning on its side, it particularly do all these activities, and it generates a report which helps the user to understand, and they can keep on posting to increase their engagement. Next, using the data science in your search engines. So now let's look at something that we use every day, which is Google. The Google search engine has the most unique search algorithms, which allows machine learning models to provide relevant search recommendations even as the user type on in his or her query. This feature is called as your autocomplete. So as you write initials, so you see here in this case that we write some keywords with the help of data science, and how when you write data, it should be data science or it should be something else. This depends upon your past type of searches that you have made, and also it depends upon the various factors. So these are the factors which influence the autocomplete. Autocomplete feature is fed by the data models, which is machine learning, and it is basically kind of your recommendation engines. Which plays an important role here. The recommendations influencing factors are query volume. So the first one is your query volume in the factors. Google's algorithm identify unique and verifiable users that search for any particular keyword on the web. Based on that, it builds a query volume. For instance, you can, when you write some initials, like you write something D. With D, what should be the word which should come first? Or you can say how to. Then you write something like delete, or what is B. B, after B, you will get the recommendation. So this depends upon its database history, the query volume from the unique and verifiable users, which the Google has collected, and depending upon that, it will give you the autocomplete feature recommendations. Next is another important factor will be your geographical locations. So a person who is writing the initials in New York City will get different recommendations, and the person who is writing the same query in Spain maybe they will get some different recommendations, and the person who is in Malaysia will be getting some different locations, some different recommendations, because in this geographical locations is also an important factor. When Google provide you the relevant search recommendations, it is based on his or her location as well. Then next one is, of course, the algorithm consider the actual keyword and the phrases that the user types in. It takes up to those words and crawls the web looking for similar instances. So next part is that what are the keywords which has been written. So initials it will see like data S, and depending upon the user's past history and the kind of keywords and phrases which are used by the other users across the web, it will try to recommend. Next is the algorithm also try to filter or scrub out an inappropriate content. For instance, sexual contents, violent contents, or related to your terrorism relevant content, hate speeches, and legal cases are also scrubbed out from the search recommendations. So that's how your Google search engine works. These were the two use cases from the field of social media, social network platforms, and the search engines. Similarly, we can have an example for the healthcare, finance, and public sectors. Let's see them one by one. And from this, whatever the information has been ingested, data collected from these will be ingested to maybe your big data services, big data storage, right? And from there, we can collect the data information, the relevant information, and we can build solutions, or we can try to find out the questions around it. So these were the two examples that we have seen. Now the third one is your healthcare. In the healthcare, we are having the information which are related. So now today you will see how the data science could help in this healthcare sector. So today even, so to understand this, let's take an example of a wearable device. All right. These devices have biometric sensors and built-in processor to gather the data from your body. When you are wearing them, they transmit the data to big data analytics. So that's where the IoT gateways are there. If you don't know the term IoT, it means Internet of Things. The role of Internet of Things is that it should able to collect the data from the sensors. So it's like machine to machine communication. When we talk about M2M communication, that's where the IoT plays an important role. So this data, when it is connected to internet, obviously you need an activity either through internet or through Bluetooth, right? That's a symbol of Bluetooth here. So by some connections, you need to send it to the IoT gateways, okay, Internet of Things gateways. They transmit the data to the big data analytics via your IoT gateways, and ideally the platform collects hundreds of thousands of data points, and the collected data is ingested into the system for further processing. So this will be transferred to the servers. These are the servers of these particular service providers here. The enterprise infrastructure will be there. These will be called as your clusters of big data, where all the data will be transferring through the IoT gateways. The data will be collected, and this will be humongous amount of data which will be collected. The big data analytics platform applies data models created by the data scientist and extract the relevant information which a user is likely to check. So they will go to the data analytics part, which is created by your data scientist, and what you see on the engagement dashboard, or the in simple, in common terms, you call it as an app. This is what the flow is. So it includes multiple technologies. It includes your IoT, it includes your embedded systems, which is basically used in your wearable devices. This is your obviously the processor-based programming language. Then IoT, internet gateways are there, big data is there, data science comes after the data has been collected and it has been stored in your enterprise infrastructure storage. On top of it, you will build a solution and you will present it on some visualization platforms, and then you can convert them into a product, into an app. The big data analytics platform applies data models created by the data scientists and extract the information that is relevant for the user. It sends the information to the engagement dashboard where you can see how many steps you have worked, what is your heartbeat rate over a period of time, how good your sleep was, how much calories you burn, and so on. So these are the information that you will get. And not only just this, it could end at knowing such details would be helpful for to set your personal goals for healthy lifestyle and reduce overall healthcare and insurance cost. It will also help your doctor record your vitals, and it will also help you in diagnosis of any issues if it is found in your later age. So that's your another example. Another engagement we can talk about here, which is related to the finance sector, which can be easily another example for the data scientist. So data scientist helps in functioning it more efficiently. The finance sector we are talking about. Suppose a person applies for a loan. The loan manager submits the application to enterprise infrastructure for processing it. The analytics platform applies the data model. So first it goes to the loan applicant. What IoT, sorry, your question. What IoT will do with data? IoT is responsible for managing the data transfer of. It is used for establishing and machine-to-machine communication. Okay, let's go back. As I said, IoT is relevant for communicating between these devices. This device is a machine. This is a set of sensors. So it is basically creating a network of sensors and it communicates with it. That's where the IoT plays an important role. It is not only related to transfer of data, and also it will transmit this data to your through the gateways. It will transmit the data to the main storage, which is your enterprise cluster. It will not do any analysis here. It is just to used for collecting the data in a secure way and transfer it to the enterprise infrastructure to your storage. So IoT plays an important role between sensor communication, between device to device, machine to machine communication. Okay, and here we are talking about various sensors are there. Those are sensors data which are streaming. This will be collected by the IoT. Okay, moving ahead, let's go back to the financial data. All right, so that's the flow. So suppose a person, a loan applicant is there, and this loan applicant will be streaming, will be basically submit their loan application into the loan application portal. So it has been submitted here, it has been uploaded here. Now this data will be transferred to the databases. For the financial sector, we can say that it will be uploaded in some centralized server, and there mostly the data will be available in a database form. The enterprise infrastructure will, again, the data analytics will particularly make the data available. Only the relevant information will be displayed without disclosing maybe the person name, so that he can make the decision, and the manager will be not biased here while analyzing the details. So what are the details will tell us a good history about the applicant. So applicant credit report. So credit score is important. Credit history is important. Credit score, credit history, credit report, approved amount, so how much amount the person is looking for, what type of loan it is, and what is the risk involvement. Analyzing all this, the loan will be either approved or it will be denied. So that's the engagement we have in the financial chapter, and there again you can see the role of data analytics will be there, data scientist will be there, which will particularly collect the informative information from all the information which has been added by the loan applicant. Like addresses will be removed, so no addresses are there in this case. Similarly, it will also predict the risk involvement, predict the risk. So it will check for the past records, and it will see that how many people of similar type has did fraud with the bank. So if any will be found, according to that, it can give you the risk percentages to the loan manager, and the loan manager will make the decision. Next example. All right, next example is using the data science public sector. The governments in different countries share large data sets from the various domains and they make it public. Like you can take an example of GDP. GDP data is always made public. All right, so governments across different countries, they particularly make it, and this kind of transparency makes the government seem more trustworthy. Okay, it provides the country data that can be used to prepare itself for different type of issues like climate change, disease control. So like you can also take an example of COVID data, which every country has made it public, and vaccination data also. This was also made public, and Google has used it to generate the analytics. So if you search for vaccine analytics of your country, then basically you will able to see all the details about the status of how much percent, like COVID vaccine statistics, like these type of search you will make. The Google will present it in terms of nice visualization. So how these things are made public. So even not just your country people knows about what is the status and how your country is performing in controlling the COVID, but other world will be also will able to check that what is the status. So these are the topics which could be made public, like how much wheat production had been by the country, so agriculture status, what are the type of what was the production in your previous years and what is the pattern, businesses, climate, customer, okay, investments, okay, like FDI data could be made public, foreign investments on the platform. So data.gov is from the US. You can visit its site and you can get a lot of data. Even the airlines data are there here. Okay, and it's huge in size. So airlines data and other data are available. This is for the US site. All right. So having said that, we have understood about what are the different type of data is there, and now we will discuss about some of the real challenges. We will also discuss about the Python and these type of things. So we will discuss about these points. We are about to end this part. Okay. Python will be mostly related to these steps and the basic introduction. So we'll go for the break, and after we come back from the break, we will discuss about the rest of the other things related to this particular slide number for our first lesson. So that's it. This is all about our first part of the session. Now I'll start the polling activity, give your valuable feeds there. And after 2 minutes, I will start the timer clock. The break will be for 15 minutes. And then we can go back to then we can come back to continue our session. So let me just start it once. Just a second. All right. The poll is on. You can provide it in the chat. Break could be maximum to 20 minutes, not more than that. 20 minutes is the maximum allowed. So let's keep it for the first day today, as this is the first day, so we'll go for 20 minutes break. And after that, we can go for our rest of the details. So those who have already given the feeds, you can go for your break. Thank you so much. Rest all do it fast. I'll just start the clock. Next one more minute. Break time 20 minutes. Hello everybody, welcome back after the break. Please show your presence in the chat once. Participants, please show your presence in the chat. Participants, please show your presence in the chat. Alright, let's get started. So we were discussing about, I think there was one question which was posted. Let's take here. See, when we use the terms like data cleansing, data scrubbing, data manipulation, they all mean the same thing. There is no differences in them. What it means is, by the way, what is scrubbing? Scrubbing is basically used to clean the utensils, right? So same thing will be applied. There is no special things is gonna work here. When we say data cleansing or data scrubbing, it means that we are likely to remove our missing values, incorrect entries, the question marks, or duplicate entries, or any error in the data set. So these are the steps which are involved in your data cleansing or data scrubbing. Both are all are same here. I think this question was posted before the break, I guess. Sorry, after the break, I guess, by Ashish only. The spelling is a bit weird, so that's what. Ashish, Mr. Ashish Biswas. So that was the answer for your question. Data cleansing is data scrubbing is nothing but it is your data cleansing process only to remove to fix your incorrect, incomplete, duplicate. These type of entries are there. We just handle them by the help of our data science analysis. Moving ahead, the real challenges. Let's talk about it. We have seen the data science can be applied across different sectors, and their examples are well clear to us. Now, let's take a look at the various challenges that a data scientist faces in real world problem statements while dealing with the data sets. First one is data quality. Okay. So the first problem is the data quality which does not conform to the set standards. Data integration is complex task. So the quality of the data is mostly up to the data standards. You will usually come across data that is inconsistent, inaccurate, incomplete, full of errors, missing values, and not in the desirable format. They will be having anomalies, outliers. These are various type of errors which are found in your anomalies, right? Outliers, anomalies. What are the other things? Inaccuracy, inaccurate data, incomplete data, inconsistent data. So when you have these type of issues in the data, so the data scientists need to handle all these, and we will learn about it as we will progress. So these are some of the important terms, so remember them. Integration, data integration with several other enterprise applications or systems or applications which has been already there will be a complex task. So that will be also one of the challenges. Integration part. Next is data is distributed into large clusters in HDFS. HDFS is basically part of your Hadoop cluster storage. If you have learned about big data, you might be already knowing it. What is the full form of HDFS? If you have already attended any big data part earlier, so you can easily give the answer. So what is the full form of HDFS? Anyone from the participants? Hadoop Distributed File System, very good. Hadoop Distributed File System, full form is of HDFS. What this provides us, this is your storage to big data. This is your storage of big data. So what happens is in the real world problem statement, the data scientists, they need to just at certain point he has to integrate with the Hadoop clusters and he need to fetch the data from the HDFS storage. And this is your distributed storage platform where the data will be not available in one storage, one node. These are all your nodes. Nodes are what? Nothing but they are providing you the different systems. So your data will be distributed across all the multiple nodes, which integrate each other in distributed fashion, and they communicate with each other. They whatever the resources are there, they share with each other. Whatever the data is available in the storage, it will be distributed across the cluster. So the various file formats could be there, which includes your web applications, files, CSV file formats, NoSQL databases, RDBMS, all these various data forms or the APIs data which are coming up in the streaming form. These are all getting stored in your Hadoop cluster, and this could be analyzed. This is where now the question arises that Hadoop cluster can vary from a few nodes to thousands of clusters, and the challenge is to perform the analytics on these large data sets efficiently and effectively. And that's where the Python comes into play, where its powerful set of libraries, functions, modules, packages, and extensions helps the data scientist to handle the varieties of data, which includes your data of unstructured to semi-structured to structured data types. Lot of packages are there. Let's see one by one. Over to the Python. Python deals with each stages of data analytics, and it tackles all the issues, whether you wanted to prepare an uncleaned data, you wanted to perform a scrubbing over the data, you wanted to perform cleansing over the data, you wanted to perform data wrangling over the data pre-processing, all these things. For them, Python is a solution. And how Python is a solution? Because Python has got a very strong set of libraries such as Scrappy, which comes handy here to acquire the data. So I'll just give you an example of a Scrappy. Scrappy is a library which is used, it is a Python library which is used to prepare data from websites. This is used to prepare the data from the websites. So data acquisition, this is related to your data acquisition part. Another library which is similar to Scrappy is Beautiful Soup. Another library which does a similar type of thing is Beautiful Soup. These both is used to take the data from the web pages, websites. So from there you can prepare the data. Data acquisition could be done through this way as well using Python library, Scrappy or Beautiful Soup. Data wrangling, there the library which help us is Pandas library. Pandas basically creates your data in a data frame format, and this is very efficient in handling large data and makes your data wrangling easier. data cleansing easier with its powerful functions. When it comes to exploring the insights from the data which has been cleaned and it has been prepared in the proper data formats, that's where the matplotlib library will be helpful. Matplotlib libraries are very rich when it comes to data exploration and data visualization. Next in this case is modeling. Data could be modeled by using libraries like scikit-learn, statistical and mathematical functions. For machine learning library, these are your scikit-learn library is available to us. Next is your NumPy, which will provide us very nice mathematical solutions. So you can apply this. Next is visualization part. The visualization, the modern libraries such as Bouquet creates a very intuitive and interactive visualization. SciPy is also there. SciPy is also helpful in giving and providing your statistical part. Libraries are statistical based functions are available through the SciPy. Bouquet is one of the visualization. Other library which provides you an interactive type of modeling is Plotly. This is also one of the libraries. So you can see that at every stages, the data scientists can work on various libraries, and they are really nice and powerful libraries which can handle. So it provides a large set of libraries and functions where you can perform the big data analytics, and it can solve all your problems with the help of an easy set of functions which are available to us as a solution. So these are your set of libraries names. Please remember them as we will progress in the session. We will start in our session. The flow will be first we will discuss in Python, then we will discuss NumPy, then Pandas, then Matplotlib. This will be the first four important practical aspects. Let's move ahead to our Python tools and technologies as discussed already. Benefits of Python, so easy to learn, open source, efficient and multiple platform support, huge collection of libraries are there, functions are there, big data source community is there, it can integrate well with the enterprise apps, APIs and systems, and they provide you great vendor and product support. Python is easy to learn. That is also one of the advantage. It is general purpose programming language, interpreter based. It's general purpose, interpreter based. It's not a compiler based. So that means that you will write line by line. Also, it is easy. Still, it is one of the powerful because it do support your OOPS concept. So object-oriented programming is also supported by your Python. It is because it is an open source, that's why it is readily available, easy to install, and it is free licensed, and there are various supports which are available for this. It has also got a large presence of open source community for the software development and the support. Python has its own tools that enjoy multiple platform support. Application development with Python integrate easily with other enterprise systems and applications. And there are a lot of tools and platforms and products in the market from the different vendors present as they offer great support and devices and services, pardon. Python is supported by well-established data platforms and processing frameworks that helps to analyze data in a simple and efficient way. This is basically the support and related to your big data part. Big data is basically could be divided into three different types of data, which includes structured, semi-structured, and unstructured. Now, to work on humongous amount of data at enterprises level, you will be using platforms like Cloudera, Hortonworks, MapR, some of the important cloud services, which includes your Azure, HD Insight. This is the service name, HD Insight. The resource group you have to create for this, and then you can start hosting your cluster inside the Azure. Next is your AWS. AWS provides you services like EMR, which is ready to run clusters services. So you can just choose your some configurations and you can install them. So these are your different enterprise level big data platforms that provide you not only just the support of the big data tools, big data frameworks, but also it will be giving you the nice support to your Python libraries as well. Or it might support you to install these libraries. The platform will give you the access that you can install the Python supported libraries, which we have just named here. These are the libraries which are important. So not only just you provide, you need the frameworks, which is obviously provided from these environment ready to use, but you will need the Python and you will need the various tools to perform the data analysis and processing. These two parts is basically related to the topic of big data developer course. This is not related to the data science course. The data scientist course will be at this stage where we will use libraries of Python and the Python programming where our data is already available in some locations, and from there we will just fetch the data and we will clean our data. That's where the Python is powerful. So hopefully this is clear. These are your different frameworks which are there for running the process, which includes MapReduce from Hadoop. Spark is one of the fastest running framework that is available to us. It gives you the support of Python programming as well. Hadoop, it does not have much of support of Python. This is basically Java dependent, but it is the Spark where the Python use cases comes. If you have attended our big data developer course, then you might be already aware about it. Otherwise, let's not go into the details. Let's keep our things to our data scientist roles and responsibilities. First lesson is over. Now let's do the knowledge check. So now that we have covered our first chapter, first lesson, let's see how much you have studied, how much you have understood. So the rule is very simple. You will answer it in the chat from the coming questions, and I request everybody to post their questions in the chat. Don't use the Q&A part to post your questions. Use the chat window to post your question. Otherwise, it will miss out. These are libraries list which uses Python programming language. These are supported by the Python programming languages. These are all different libraries are there, which is not a language, but these will be used by the data scientist. And these are all, language will be only one, and that is Python. These are your packages, these are your libraries. All these are part of your libraries only, and each library has got its role that I have already explained in this particular slide. Where does they play an important role? So let's start with data scientist. A data scientist is dash A, B, C, D. Give your answers. Quite a simple, easy one. You can provide your answers by A, B, C, D. A data scientist is someone who knows who can explore the data and can ask the right questions. Yes. A data scientist is someone who should know how to acquire the data by using the libraries from Python, by using Scrappy or Beautiful Soup. These are the libraries which are used as discussed in the class. And data scientist is also the one who will perform your data wrangling and data visualization. Tell me the library names for data wrangling. What is the library that we use? That is how to prepare the data. The library name is Pandas. Okay. What is the libraries used in data visualization? Data visualization libraries. Matplotlib. Next. Next library. Matplotlib is one. Bouquet for interactive plots. Next. Plotly. There is one more library called as Seaborn. Seaborn. This is your fourth library. These are all related to your data visualization library list. This much is enough. That is supported by Python. Matplotlib, Bouquet and Plotly is for interactive. These two are used for interactive plot. Other two are used for basic plots and complex plots, respectively. Tableau is not a Python based. We are talking about Python based libraries. Tableau is a different tool in itself. A data scientist, so correct answer is D, which I think everybody has given it. Next, the search engine's autocomplete feature identify unique and verifiable users who search for particular keyword or phrase to dash A or B. Yes, Python could be used by the Power BI as well. There is a you can do the Power BI could be integrated with the Python as well. You can run your Python scripts. What is the correct answer? Scrub in inappropriate content. So this is basically about clean. When we use scrub, it means cleaning, cleansing. Build a query volume. Yes, D is correct. Tag the location to a query. Yes. Find similar instances on the web. If you need to see, I think when your search engine's autocomplete features, they identify the unique and verifiable users. Search particular key, I think all will be applied. But I don't know why this is saying B and C only. According to me, I think all should be the correct answer because as per the discussion that we had, and it should be true as well, that it does not give you the sensitive content when it verifies the users. D will be also used. A will be also there. From my side, correct answer should be all. Correct answer should be all, not just B and C. Because obviously finding the similar instances on the web. So I think for this, the correct answer will be all. as per the discussion we had. So for the second one, the correct answer should be A, B, C, D, all. Next, what is the sequence flow of data analytics? Just now we discussed it. So just check it and tell me. Read it because it will be, the correct answer will be there. So you need to check. Look for data acquisition where it is at the first place. In none of them, data acquisition is the first place apart from C. First is always about acquiring the data, ingesting the data. So data acquisition, then wrangling, then exploration, modeling, and in the end, it is visualization, representation of your model. So the answer will be C. For question number 3, answer is C. That's it. So these are the key takeaways. Now we know how to define the data science and we know the libraries. Let's end this lesson here and let's start with our next lesson. Chapter number 2. Sorry, lesson number 2. Believe that SciPy is not a library for visualization. SciPy is used for statistical analysis. You know how sometimes there could be these type of silly mistakes could be there. So avoid it. SciPy is used for only and only for your data analysis part. Okay, applying the stats to the data. Just a second, I'm getting some important call. Data science with Python. Let's get started with this. Data analytics overview. So here are the learning objectives. Let's start here. This describes your data analytics. This describes your data analytics process and its steps. List of skills and tools are required for the data analysis. We understand the challenges here. That will also understand of what are the challenges faced by the data analytics process. We'll also explain the story about how the exploratory data analysis techniques are there and how does we build it. And we will illustrate the data visualization techniques as well. Is it chapter lesson number 2 or 3? Okay, it is 2 only. Okay. Let's start with data analytics. Data by itself is just an information source, but unless you understand it, you will not able to use it efficiently. So today, we are having a lot of access to a lot of data, but unless we know about them, what exactly the data is doing, we won't able to help us. We will not able to perform an analytics over these data. Let's take an example of financial bank statements, which is listed over here with the dates where these transaction has been taken place. So it includes your description of the. It also includes what type of transaction is this, whether it is a deposit, whether it is a withdrawal, and what is the current balance holding up inside person's account. So it's near about, it starts with a withdrawal of $100. These are all in dollars here. Okay. So we have got here some of the list of transactions. A bank statement usually lists every single transaction, either a deposit or a withdrawal, along with the balance amount left in the account. So as shown here. Through this statement, this is highly descriptive and is a good source of information. Does not show the spending or saving pattern of the user, but through the analytics pattern, we can But the moment you will present this into the same data into a line chart, you can easily spot the overall transactions and what has been pattern of deposit amount and the withdrawal amount in your bank transactions over the period of time. This will be also showing you the discrepancies in your transactions. So if you compare this pattern over the period of 3 months, you can also spot if there is a shift from the regular pattern. Here you can see that there is an unusual spike in the spending pattern of user between what is the date? Maybe, okay, so the date is between 24th of April to 26th of April. Okay, 27 is here and 23rd is here. So that's why these are your three spikes on 3 dates, which include 24, 25, and 26. These are your unusual patterns that we have. This kind of data analysis is what allows the bank to instances of identifying that whether it is a fraudulent transaction or if it is a valid transaction. Fraudulent transaction or it is a valid transaction. Not only just this is also to be analyzed of what type of transactions you usually do. Whether you make a transaction in a location pattern will be also analyzed here. Location pattern will be also analyzed here to stop any possibility of fraudulent transaction. I don't know about you. I can tell you my real life experience of banking transactions when 2 times my the transactions, the cards I'm talking about, the credit cards and the debit cards. So those cards got blocked, and the reason was that I was in certain different locations. Okay, one was international transaction, which I have never did earlier. So that made our that detected as a fraudulent transaction and automatically blocked my card. Alright, and the second one was making a transaction in some remote place where obviously I never visited earlier. So this type of patterns are also analyzed and these are always live, okay? Whenever you will go to the ATM cards or you will try to make a transaction, those will check whether it is a regular pattern or it is irregular patterns from your regular transactions. So if it is a discrepancy found, it will automatically block your cards or it might result into failure of transactions. That's the data analytics use case again. So your bank statement was an example of highly structured data set. Most data sets that you will have to work with will be not structured, but it will be somehow kind of your unstructured format or your semi-structured format. Alright, and you have to clean it up before you could use it in any constructive way. That's why data analytics involves a combination of process to help you extract information from these various data sets. Along with that, you should know the domain knowledge and you should know the various programming, mathematical and statistical skills. Process, the flow chart. So look at this. This is what we will be following up. That's what the data analytics process is. Data analytics is a step-by-step process to reach to a conclusion. Let's look at these steps briefly. The first step in the process is to ask questions to identify the business problem. First, look at to the business problem. Try to get the answers, try to look for the questions. The next step will be data acquisition. In this step, in the data acquisition step, we will be working on collecting the data set related to the business problem or questions from the real world. The third step comprises of data wrangling with data tools and modern technologies that include data cleansing and data manipulation. So the third step here will be your data wrangling step or your data cleansing step using the various libraries. The next step is called as EDA. Full form is Exploratory Data Analysis. EDA, Exploratory Data Analysis. What we do in the Exploratory Data Analysis is here, present the data in a graphical form. Present the data in mathematical or graphical output. Or graphical output to aid your data analysis. This is your EDA part. Data exploration is the next step, is your step number 5. At this data exploration step, discover the data and identify the patterns in the data. Hidden patterns from data. Conclusion or predictions. And the last part is communication. The next step is to draw the conclusion and make predictions if it is required. We will train our models, we will apply the machine learning algorithms here. Or we can do it with the help of lot of mathematical and statistical functions. We can draw multiple conclusions. The last step is communication or data visualization to present the analysis of the data. Now let's see the details of them. Business problem could be related to the how are my customers, okay, sales pattern. You can answer the questions like, you can ask the questions like, who are the target customers? Who are the target customers? Next is, why are my sales, what is the pattern of the sales? What is the pattern of sales, which includes either upward trend or downward trend? What type of trend is there? Next is, how do I manage my inventory? Why is my system not scaling up with increasing traffic of the data? So if large volume of the data, large volume or large velocity of the data will result into, you should increase up your resources here. The resources uses will be more. That means your RAM, storage, CPU, GPU requirement will be more. So these type of such business problems usually trigger the need to analyze the data and answer the questions. So these are the type of questions which could come up in your mind, like what type of target audiences. Suppose the bank is there. Let's take an example here. Bank is there. Bank is coming up with some investment plan. So which all customers are there will be interested in taking up the bank investment plans. Okay, so that's how the business problems trigger here. Let's go to the data acquisition part. In the data acquisition, we collect the data from the various sources for analysis to answer the questions raised in your step number 1. So the next step is you gather the data or you collect the data. This process is known as your data acquisition. The main task is to collect the relevant data or the data which is associated with the problems. The libraries that we use in this case, in this step, is SciPy or our Beautiful Soup, or other libraries could be also there to to actually perform your data acquisition. As a data scientist, you will need database skills as well to fetch the data from the databases. Now, this could be also there. Sometimes your data will be available in your various databases, which can be categorized as your NoSQL databases, for example, MongoDB, or your data will be available in your structured format in your RDBMS, in your RDBMS. Example are many, like you can have an example of Oracle, you can have an example of MySQL, etc. So these are the things you will be doing in your, these are the skills that you should know as a data scientist, and you should able to know how to perform your file handling, you work on the various file formats, and web scraping. Web scraping is nothing but it is about the process of fetching the data from the websites and prepare it into a meaningful data. And this is where we take the libraries of SciPy and Beautiful Soup. The process is called as web scraping. Here, the content is directly taken from, the copy of the content is taken from the website. That means you will basically copy the entire HTML code. And instead of doing it manually, we do it with the help of our web scraping libraries and tools, which make your process faster and efficient. You can also clean your data by the help of those same libraries, and you can convert them into a more meaningful data frames. All right. Data could be also taken from the various APIs as well. The developers, if you don't know, then let me tell you whether it is Facebook or it is Twitter. These data you can take, okay, obviously for your learning purposes by the help of APIs. You can create a developer's account, and with the help of the APIs of these websites, you can stream the data which is generated by Facebook, Twitter. In fact, Twitter is much more commonly used. They provide the APIs, and through that, the tweets, those data could be extracted. So these are the different ways and methods of data acquisition through the databases, through your web scraping, or through the help of APIs, which will help you in copying the website content, including the Twitter tweets or Facebook data, etc. Data wrangling, I think we have talked enough about it. We all understand what will be the step of this, what will be the step it will be doing here. Scrappy is used for, this should be written properly, Scrappy. Scrappy was and Beautiful Soup. Both are used for your web scraping. When I say web scraping, what is the meaning of this? We copy the website content and we convert them into a meaningful data. Somebody please explain what is API? I think many IT fields are there, so you can tell me. Anyone? Anybody? Application Programming Interface. This is full form. Application Programming Interface. Using the API, the developers can access the data of the applications. It seeks permission here, okay, various level of permission. So that's why you need to create a developer account. You need to check all the permissions, and with the help of the APIs, you can extract the data. Again, this is used for data acquisition. When I say acquisition, what does it mean? That it will be used to extract, fetch the data, right? This will use to fetch the data from applications, from various applications. Okay, applications like Twitter, Facebook, etc. Like Google APIs are there, Google Map API, yes. Google Map APIs are there. Using the Google Map API, you can take the help of the Google Map to present in your data set using your Python again. Okay, so Google Maps could be presented, data could be plotted on the Google Map. Obviously, here you should be having the information of the geolocation data. So various applications are there. Whatever I have used in any projects I have described here, these are more than enough to give you the information what exactly the APIs do. This part I'm just moving ahead. We did discuss about it already. Data cleansing, data manipulation, this comes under data wrangling, whereas data discovery and finding the hidden patterns from the data with the help of visualization, this is done by visualization, and this is done by your Pandas mostly or other supported libraries. This is data wrangling, and data exploration is your visualization steps. So data manipulation techniques which include your transformation, merge, aggregate, group by, reshaping, and transforming the data and make it available for the exploratory data. So after this, it goes to this step. So first, you clean the data, you transform the data, you regroup the data, and then data goes to your data discovery and data patterns. Next part is data exploration uses all the available data and present it either in a numerical format, in a tabular format, or a graphical format. Most importantly, it will be in terms of graphical format. The most challenging part in data analytics is data wrangling step. The phase includes your data cleansing, data manipulation, data aggregation, data split, and reshaping of the data. Data wrangling is by far as I said, I'll repeat again, this is the most challenging part. What are the challenges that, let's have a look on it. And here are some of the reasons that cause these challenges. First challenge is unexpected data format. A format that is new and inconsistent data creates more preparation work. Erroneous data. This is basically related to your error in data set. Data contains a lot of error, unwanted values. This needs to be cleaned. Unexpected, unwanted elements, unwanted values, which include question mark, nan, not a number, any values, etc. This is your erroneous data. Next is your voluminous data to be manipulated. classifying data into linear or clustered format. So understand the structure of the data, whether the data is organized in the first place in a linear form or it is clustered. So using the plot, this will be possible. Determining the relationship between observation, feature and responses. Okay, this needs the explanation further. So suppose I wanted to find, I'll go to this particular part here. Let's see the relationship part. When I say relationship between observation or features, okay, let's take some examples here to understand the relationship. One of the problem statement we can take here is price of the vehicle and city MPG. City MPG stands for your mileage. That is your miles per gallon. Let's take the data samples. So this could be generated. So what will be the pattern? What do you think? First you think, then I'll show you. What do you think? What should be the relationship between the price of the vehicle and the mileage of the vehicle? They should be directly proportional to each other or it should be indirectly proportional to each other. What type of relationship should be there? Inverse proportionality or direct proportionality? So the correct answer is inverse. Compare mileage of vehicles like Suzuki, then let's take to an extent one more. Mileage of Audi, sorry. Compare their mileages, you will get your answer why it is inverse. And also compare the price. You can also compare it with Honda. You can also compare it with your Hyundai. They basically create some economic class vehicles. So what are the three? You can compare here Suzuki, Honda, and I was saying about the Hyundai. Their mileages and their price. Along with that, you can compare Audi, then BMW, etc. The mileages you can compare and you can compare the price. Also Lamborghini, you can also compare the Lamborghini, their mileage and their price. Correct? So basically they will show you the inverse relationship. That's what we are talking about. These both are your feature. This is called as your feature here. This is the feature of vehicle that drives your price. What could be the other possible feature here? I'll continue the same example of vehicle and price here. What could be the other driving force for the price of the vehicle? What could be the other driving force and what should be the relation between them? Power. Correct. Power and BHP. So let's take some continuous value. What will be the relationship between power and price? Next is your power in your BHP. What will be the relation here between price of the vehicle and the power? Direct or indirect? So both will be directly proportional here. So this could be easily understandable here, whether what type of analysis. So what we did here, we just did here a scatter plot. This type of plot is called as scatter plot, and a scatter plot is responsible for displaying your relationship plot. This is your feature number 2. The earlier was your feature number 1. Both are defining your y value, which is my price. Both are defining my y value, which is price. Okay, so these are your two different two important factors in the vehicle that drives your price. Obviously, the length of the vehicle will be also the factor. In that also, it will be directly proportional. With a large size engine, your vehicle will also, sorry, your price will be also increasing. Similarly, if the vehicle size is big, your price will also be large. So the length of the vehicle will be also directly proportional to the price. So that will be your feature number 3. And similarly, so hopefully you have understood what is the meaning of relationship through the observations we can extract between the features and response. Clear? Alright, so this is the best way to determine the things, and hopefully you have understood it till this point. Data exploration, this is basically related to your, at this phase we particularly, after the data has been cleaned, we reach to the data exploration step, and we present the data in a mathematical, statistical, or just in a normal plot, like with the help of a scatter plot, bar graph, histogram, and that's how the things work here. EDA, exploratory data analysis. Now, when you look at the word approach, let's try to understand the approach part in the EDA. EDA approach studies the data to recommend admissible models that fit the data. That's the approach here. This is basically studying the data to recommend suitable models that best fit the data. So you look at the data and you then take the decisions. Fine. Like, for an instance, I'm giving you this right now. Okay, as we will proceed ahead, then you will understand this better. So I'll not go into the details, but just because it has come up here, that how does we decide that which model will be best fit for the given data. So one example, I'm taking only one example. On the basis of the nature of your target, let's say our y value, it is represented as a y. Y is my data that I wanted to predict. Let us say price of vehicle. Price of the vehicle, what is the nature of the price of the vehicle? It is continuous, or it is continuous, or it is categorical. What is the nature of price? It is continuous or categorical? The price of the vehicle could be any value. So the answer is Continuous. Continuous. Continuous means numerical value. Those who doesn't understand why continuous, for them I'm telling, because I can see people sending it as continuous in categorical form. I think I have taken a. Okay, let's go ahead. Types of data. Should not understand this part, right? Types of data. We will have a deep details about this as we will progress ahead. Let's discuss it, because you should understand these common basic things. These are very basic part. And for this, you don't have to be data scientist. These are common general questions. All your data could be divided into two sections. One is numerical form. What is the other name of numerical form? Qualitative or quantitative? Qualitative. This will be numerical. And the second is quantitative. Qualitative. Wait a second. It will be reverse. Quantitative. Qualitative. Okay. Numerical. Quantitative. Qualitative will be non-numerical. This non-numerical data. Here the data will be available in terms of alphabets. This type of data is called as categorical. This type of data is called as categorical. Example, color of the hair, color of eyes. Categories are there. Next, what other values we can take in under the categorical part? Names of political party. Next, grade. I'm talking about grade. Gender. Grades means you will be having grade A, B, C, D, E. Gender, male or female. So you will get an answer of yes or no type of question, or these type of examples are categorical type of data. On the other side, quantitative. Quantitative could be divided further into two parts. Quantitative could be divided further into two parts, discrete or continuous. Continuous, and next is discrete. Okay, let's talk about the continuous here. What is the meaning of continuous data? It can range from minus infinity to plus infinity, any value. Example, age could be any number, weight could be any number, height could be any number. This can be decimal, this can be decimal, float, okay, or integer, could be anything. Whereas on the discrete side, you'll have countable values. This will be countable. Discrete will be countable. This will be countable. Like, yes, student in this session, in Simply Learn class, this will be fixed. Next, what could be another example? The discrete values. I'm talking about discrete. Continuous part is over. Continuous will be the price of product, price of vehicles. These are continuous values. Players in the cricket match, players in any game. Number of players in game. These are countable value and mostly it will be integer. These will be only and only mostly integers will be there. Number of bones in human body, yes. So all these countable things, all these children, this we have already taken. Children in park or student in the Simply Learn, it's all one of the same thing. Give me some more. Number of heart attacks. But that will be plenty, isn't it? So this will be your countable value and mostly it will be of integer types. Whereas on the continuous part, the value will range. Okay, it could be anything. It will be your negative or it could be your, the value could be of any type here. Float could be there, decimals could be there, any part. Yes, houseful rooms. Number of houses in a room. Number of rooms in house. That's the answer for your data part, which obviously would have been come later. But as we are discussing about the EDA, so here you should know that how the data are divided. So hopefully you have understood it in this example. Back to our slides. Clear? What is the meaning of continuous data and what is the meaning of discrete data and what is the meaning of categorical data? Back to our EDA. EDA approach studies the data to recommend suitable models that best fit the data, which this is your approach part. When you click on the word focus, this talks about basically you see here focus. The focus is on the data. It's a structure, outliers, and anomalies. That's what the EDA is also means. Approach is there, focus is there. Third one is assumptions. EDA technique make minimal or no assumptions. They present and show all the underlying data without any data loss. So this shows you the pattern, the clusters, the relationship. EDA techniques make minimal or no assumptions. They just present your, so no assumptions here. It will show you what exactly your data is. Now you know what is quantitative part, right? It provides numeric output for the inputted data. And the second is your graphical approach, where the graphical techniques use a statistical function for the graphical output. So these are your two different techniques which are used. One will be study of the data, which will be mostly of numerical type. So the data will be mostly quantitative. That's what I discussed. What is the meaning of quantitative data? You all know now. Moving ahead, that different quantitative techniques. If your data is numerical, then only you can apply these techniques. The EDA quantitative techniques focuses on numerical data. The first goal is to measure the central tendencies. The central tendency include mean, median, and mode. Let's see it. Let's go to our data set. Remember, if you are applying any one of these, it means we are looking for to apply, we are studying about only the quantitative data. That means either it will be discrete or you are expecting the data will be continuous. More than important to understand, quantitative means the data will be numerical form. Qualitative is non-numerical. Let us discuss about the measurement of central tendency. So here I'll talk about the mathematical aspect of it. What is mean? Mean is whenever you are taking up their data, whenever you are applying any one of these techniques, remember that we are talking about to find out here the middle terms. The central tendency, when we say, we are looking to find out the middle terms by the help of mean, median, mode. Let us start with our first, as it is written here, mean part. So mean will be, mean is the point which basically indicates how centralized the data points are. This is used to find whether your distribution of the data is symmetric or not. I'll come back to the distribution part later, but let us see how does we calculate the mean of a sample. This is also called as your average value. So how does we calculate it? We just take summation of all these samples. This is your number of samples here divided by n. So sum of all the xi's, which is representing your sample, sum of samples divided by number of observation, sum of samples divided by number of observations. That's how we calculate mean. Next, median. Median extracts middle term. Median extract middle value, middle term. This is a middle number in the sample. There are two parts here. One is when your number of samples are odd. A, number of samples are odd. If the number of samples are in odd count, how does we calculate? Example, 2, 5, 7, 11, 15. What will be the middle term in this case? 2, 5, 7, 11, 15. What is the middle term in this? Quite easy to find. This will be your middle term. This is your middle term. So what we'll do here is we just write here n plus 1 by 2th term, n plus 1 by 2 by 2th term. So that means you find your number of terms. Number of term in this case is 5. 5 plus 1 by 2, that makes it 3. So what is the third term? Third term is 7. Remember, this is term. This is not about value. So how many number of terms are there? We have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 plus 1 by 2, that makes it 3 terms. Third. So 7 is the middle term here. N is your number of terms. It is not value. Next is when your number of sample is even, then same example 2, 5, 7, 11, 15, 19. If your number is even, then what we do? We take the average of this. What will be the formula for this one? How does we write it? Give me the formula. We take here n by 2th term plus n plus 1 by 2th term, and we divide it by 2. Here n is odd. Number of term is, sorry, n is even, right? N is even. Here n is even. So you'll find here n by 2th term plus n plus 1. So that's your answer here. Clear? Next, third one is very simple. Mode. What is mode here? Mode basically measures the frequency. Most occurring element. Most common value in the data. That means who's having the most occurring number, most occurring number or frequency. This is my mode. The EDA quantitative techniques focuses on numerical data. The first goal is to measure the central tendency of the data. Mean is the point which indicates how centralized the data points are, and mean is suitable measure for symmetric distribution. Median extracts the middle value of the observation and is suitable for if my data is skewed. So skewness distribution, or if you wanted to catch the outliers, there again median plays an important role. Median is also called as 50th percentile. Remember this term. Median is also called as 50th percentile. 50th percentile term is called as median. Okay, spread of the data. How does we measure the spread of the data? We measure it with the help of variance. We measure it with the help of a standard deviation, and we also measure it with the help of interquartile range. Let's leave this part for later because this will be again, kind of a complex thing, and it's better than when we will be doing the practicals, and when we have the data, then these terms will be much more will make sense. Right now, understand variance measures the spread of the data distribution. So when you will be particularly representing the data in this form, like you can see millions per gallon and their frequency is there, your variance will be measuring up this spread. This spread of the data is called as variance. Spread of the data is measured by variance. Histogram is one of the important plots which basically used by in your graphical techniques. And what does basically it does is it splits your data into number of ranges, and in the number of ranges you basically make a plot between the frequency. Okay, let me give you an example of to understand. I'm sure many of you might be not understanding what is histogram, even though we all have learned this in our schools. Histogram, not historical data. Histogram. Very important plot. This basically shows you the spread of the data. This is also used to locate the mean, median, or mode of the data. So I'll show you here. First, let's take an example of how you can present the data in terms of histogram. So let's take some age distributions, okay? Let's talk about that. So for example, I'll take the age from starting from 1, okay, 1 year. Then we are having some population data. We're having some students data, let's say. These are all my student data. Student data includes year 3, then 3, then 5, 7. I'm repeating the value, and at the same time I'm also making sure the values are been taken. Okay, so 7, 9, 11, 15. These are your various student data that is available to us. 13, 12, 19, 21. I mean, student could be anywhere. It could be in colleges to schools. So these are your different values which are there. Okay, the range starts from 3 and goes up to 22. This data we need to divide according to the range. So let's say the range is 3 to 22. It ranges from 3 to 22. This is your range. Now this range I will be dividing into various intervals. First interval is between 0 to 5. Second interval is between 5 to 10. Then 10 to 15. 15 to 20. And 20 to 25. Total number of total number of values is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because we have splitted them into 5, just remember that this is called as bins. I'll use it in practical term, bins. This is equals to 5. Remember this, or maybe if you can note down, because there it will be difficult to understand. The term is bins for it in the visualization part. What this does, it basically helps us in dividing a range into intervals. So how many intervals you need? I wanted 5 intervals between the range of 0 to 25. Suppose I'll increase the range in spite of this. I'll take that my range is 0 to 25. So that's the value we have got. You can see the intervals are equally spaced. So all the range will be equally spaced. In this case, you can see that my value is ranging between 0 to 5. Remember, in this case, the value will be less than 5. So there will be no overlapping. 5 will be considered here. Similarly, 10 will be considered here or more. 15 and more will be considered here. 20 and more will be considered here. That's how the values are plotted. Now let's take the frequency between your age group. First age is, so how many values falls between 0 to 4? Just consider that. Between 0 to 4, how many number of samples are there? What is the number of values? Total number of values that falls between 0 to age group of 4. Total number of samples from this, scan it and tell me. 2, 3 and 3, that's it. So that is how your plots will be created. That is how your plots will be created. This is your first. Next, between 5 to 10, how many values are there? Between 5 to 10, what is the number? What is the value? Count 1, 2, 3. Five to 10, we have got 3 values, so the frequency is 3. Understood? Similarly, between 10 to 15, last phase. Between 10 to 15, how many number of samples are there? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, Total 7 is there, 15 will be not taken, so 7 is there. 11, even less. 11, 6 will be there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So if you have said 6, that is correct answer. That's your another phase. Done? Understood? How does your histogram works? Sorry about the histogram. Rest all we will discuss later. Now I'll take, again, I will provide all these other details. In hypothesis, we will discuss it tomorrow. And tomorrow session will be alright, everybody. So that's how the things are done here in our histogram part. And that's how our plots are created. Today's session will take every day's session will be available. The recordings will be available after, it will be available as in, maybe you can say, in 24 to 48 hours it takes, near about. Tomorrow we will cover our EDS techniques, and we will also discuss our lesson number 3 part, which will be related to the statistical analysis. Practicals will start from the lesson number 4. So maybe for this week we will be getting only the stats part, the maths part, okay, and practicals we will begin from chapter number 4. Alright, so that's it for today's session. Now if you have got any questions, you can ask. This is where we can stop at our discussion over what exactly the histogram part is, which gives you the summary of the distribution of the univariate data set. Remember here, when I write this 0 to 5, then remember in this case, this is your smaller than, this will be your smaller than here. That means you can call it as a smaller than 5. And this will be greater than equals to 5. Okay? Remember this part. When I'm writing 0 to 5 and 5 to 10, this will be smaller than 5 and this will be greater than equals to 5. Alright guys, so that's it. Thank you so much everybody for joining today's session. Good night everybody. And you'll get, when you will drop from the session, you will be redirected to an external site. Follow that and provide us your valuable feedback. You should be encouraging us. I'll request the TA also to please kindly share the session's link. Thank you everybody.
Yes, Amit, sure. Thank you for a wonderful session, Amit, and thank you everyone for your participation. Once we wrap up with this session, you will see a feedback survey form in your browser, and I'll be also sharing it in the chat box. If you like the session, please rate us 5. For anything less than 5, please share your comments to help us understand what went wrong. It will help us to improve in the upcoming sessions. Thank you all for your time. Take care.